Marcus brings the heat, no filter in sight. Jason's got the insights, always gets it right. Sean's the wild card with a laugh in the night. On FolkLOOR, they banter about the latest fight. FolkLOOR podcast, stories non-stop. Tim's aim and gossip, and Tech's new crop. Loud opinions, like a punk rock pop. Marcus, Jason, Sean, they never drop.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the FolkLOOR podcast. I am Marcus, and I'm with Sean in person. We can actually touch. I'm here in California, discussing LOOR plans and deep diving into a bunch of stuff, and we're, hanging out in the hot tub and the pool and stuff, enjoying California weather too.
That doesn't sound right.
Not together.
Yeah, I don't know like it. That's all.
Yeah.
It wasn't like. Yeah. Anyway, but we actually have a really good show today. We have the first. Is this the first guest?
This is the first guest.
Well, we've had some guys jump on. So this is like the first official.
Pre-official.
Yeah. So we have Daniel Scott Holman, the creator of Beards, Behind the Beards and Bikes on LOOR TV. Thank you for coming, man. Sean, why don't you introduce him? I've been talking to him a lot recently.
I'm super excited. First of all, I got to ask a question. Is it a real guitar in the background? Is that standard issue right there?
Oh, he's muted.
You're muted. Oh, you got to unmute.
Yeah.
Hey.
Happens to me every week.
You have to explain to the audience how I was. Okay, you have to explain to the audience that I was coming in and you guys were subcontracting me to be your audio engineer.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Can we Venmo you? We'll Venmo you after the show.
No problem. I'd rather bill you, but anyway, this is not real. It only plays one on TV. So don't even look at it, as Nigel Tufnell would say in Spinal Tap. Don't even. It's too precious to me. That joke is going over everyone's head, just like it went over your Sean's earlier. So no, it is a real guitar. It's made in America, Fender. I say that because pre-CBS sales. I got to stop myself. I'm going to geek out on guitars now. But yes, it's a real guitar. We'll pull it back in.
Guitars, because I already realized we pre-gamed this show, and it was like, we're going to first tease Daniel, intro him, and then bring him on screen. But we just kind of like, yeah, we just. But I like that. I like that it's already starting off like this.
Yeah.
Experience. So
yeah, chaotic. Yes, sure.
Daniel, for a minute, pretend just for a minute you're not there. Okay. So I'm not even.
Got it.
We'll put tape. We'll just put tape over him. Pretend he's not there. But so yeah, we've got a really special guest today. I'm a big fan of the show. Daniel Scott is it's kind of a. You kind of I can't say you because you're not there yet. He's a Renaissance man. He's seen it. He's been there. He's done that. When I first saw the show, I was like, finally, we got like a real show about real people, not cartoon characters on LOOR. And what we're going to do today is intro the man behind this and maybe dive a little deeper into the backstory. But before we do that, because we want to allow as much time as possible for the interview, we're going to go right to, I don't know, do I hear someone tuning up guitars?
Yeah,
in the background?
Yeah, you do.
Because
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It's time for Jason's Trivia Lesson.
There we go.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
It's supposed to be a smooth fade, and it never really works that way.
Yeah.
Couldn't figure out our way back to it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
we're on new equipment today. So
new equipment.
New location.
Hey, this is our first remote.
It's new world.
New world. This is our first remote show.
Yeah.
Okay. So
All right. Well, you guys know that I like trivia questions that are about the intersection of technology and entertainment, right? That's the stuff that I read about and enjoy. And so today,
trivia.
we're playing intersectional trivia. It's important to get consent though before you touch one another. That's okay. So here is today's question. In 1995, the Joshua Redman Quartet famously live streamed an entire concert, marking the first time a major label employed online live streaming technology to promote one of their bands. Less than 1 year previous, the Rolling Stones had live streamed a song while on tour, but the biggest tour in the world at the time and the Warner Brothers Records, they knew it was possible because in 1993, a garage punk band made up of computer geeks in Silicon Valley had live streamed the first concert, had live streamed their performance. 1993, garage punk band of computer geeks in Silicon Valley. What was the name of the band? That's
we got
question.
there.
Wait a minute.
We got there.
Wait a minute. You landed the plane. Land the plane. Land the plane. Hey, Jason, put the fries in the bag.
He put the fries in the bag. Put the fries in the bag. Yeah. You guys needed a little bit of background, though, just a little bit.
That's what we call it a trivia lesson, and not a trivia question.
Yeah. And by the way, I have to admit, I don't even realize what the question was.
Yeah.
What was the name of the
again, Sean?
the garage punk band that first streamed a concert?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Wait, maybe this is a cheat, but is it going to be a name we even know?
I knew it. I don't know.
Yeah, you're a walking Wikipedia. Of course you knew it. Okay. All right. All right. And you know who might know it is our guest today. So, Daniel, if you know it, you got to hold back. Got to hold back.
Okay.
Yeah, don't kill the payoff.
Yeah.
No, I will.
We reveal the answer at the end. And yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna get right into it.
I like Chris's comment.
Chris said, as we all know. Yeah. We'll retitle this segment as we all know. Trivia.
As we all know. As everyone knows.
Okay. I do like Jason's trivia lesson, though. That's good. Okay. So we have a special guest. We have a great new show called Behind the Beards and Bikes. I don't want to give away too much of it. Should we show the trailer? Do we have the trailer?
Let's start out with that.
Let's start out with the trailer.
That's a position for me. Yeah. Let's watch the trailer. Stand by. We got to go get our trailer crew.
Yeah, we got to
upload it. We got to press some buttons over here. You got to upload it.
No, I don't.
Okay. This is entertainment, ladies and gentlemen.
Everything was going so well until we changed locations.
No, it's fine. I like that our show's a hybrid of behind the scenes and in front of the scenes all at once.
All right, here we go.
Yes. Yes.
They say there's a man set apart.
All right, there you have it. I like that trailer. So, I mean, okay, so that was it. Thanks, Daniel, for joining us today. Hey, everyone, if you got any questions or comments, just kidding. So Daniel, and all kidding aside, I was really impressed with this. I've watched the episode a couple times, and I was super stoked just to see something that was real. You've heard my rant before, but you go on like History Channel, Rob, TLC, whatever, all those other channels, and Duck Dynasty. Everyone thinks it's all scripted. It's not real. We have all these shows where people are like chasing treasure for like multiple seasons, but they never find treasure. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's killing me. So this is about these real guys, and I guess just tell us a little bit about. I'm always trying to frame my question so it doesn't sound standard, but tell me about how you got here, Daniel, and some of your inspiration. Walk us through why you did the show, and just maybe even kind of tease these two guys that you featured in the first app.
Sure thing, Wink. Sorry, Wink Martindale. I don't know. I'm dating myself. First of all, hey, yeah, thanks guys for having me on. It's an honor to be the first guest. Flaws and all, technical difficulties.
That's all an act, by the way. That's just part of the shtick.
That's why you guys are geniuses. This was all scripted. We're scripting now. Anyway, yeah, you mentioned a couple of those shows, Duck Dynasty, and I don't want to say American Chopper because we're talking about motorcycles, but that too. And as you know, we all know here, and I think even most of the people watching that aren't in the business, they feel it subconsciously. It's all scripted. And my idea for this show, it actually came after I've been riding bikes. I grew up in a small town where you had nothing to do except play baseball, football, and ride motorcycles. And cow tipping, but we won't go there to upset some of the PETA members. But well, no, I actually, on a side note, when I say, I come from a small town, there's nothing to do. So, it's either baseball, football, motorcycles, or cow tipping. And I've actually offended people, but that's another story. And it just happened yesterday. That's why it's fresh in my mind. But anyway, I've been riding bikes my whole life, so I don't think anything of it. And, I started early in entertainment and, started working at a high level at a very young age. And it took me all over the place. And I've worked with and met and associated with everyone you can think of, pretty much, and all various degrees. And throughout it all, I've always, been riding a bike. And so I've ridden with a lot of people, all the way from, weekend warriors, doctors and whatever that just do it on the weekend and they're going through a midlife crisis, to real guys that, let's just say, are in real clubs, So, and it's just an experience. And one day, about a year ago, no, I'm sorry, time flies. This was about 2 years ago. It was actually during when the pandemic hit. Moved the family down to Tennessee. Discovery Channel was down there. A lot of things dried up. I'm up in the Northeast in Philadelphia. So we're down in Tennessee. And I started riding with some guys, which I normally do wherever I go. I just, you go to a bike shop or whatever where people are hanging and you could just ride. And that's something also about the community of people that ride motorcycles wherever you are in the world. There's just like this kind of brotherhood, and everyone helps each other out, and you can kind of just show up as long as you're a cool guy. When I mean cool guy, you're not a fool, and you can go out on a ride with people. So I was riding one day with these guys, and we're pulled off to the side. We're taking a little break, and this guy, he's actually in the first episode. tattooed head to toe, and your stereotypical outside appearance that most people, they pull up to a light, you'd look at, honey, don't look over there. We gotta, you just don't even want to look at them. But we're talking, and he's saying, I'm having one of the most deepest conversations I've ever had in my life. And it kind of hit me at that moment. And part of it is he's telling me things that I don't know if he even would tell his wife, because there's this kind of, again, it goes back to that kind of bond of writing and this kind of universal thing, this trust. It's hard to describe, but hopefully I just did. And at that moment, when he's telling me these pieces of his life, I went, if I can capture that, if I can capture what I am getting as, through my eyes, because of this trust, and show it to the world, I think they'd have a different view on things, let's just say. And this guy, very high IQ, writes poetry, plays the violin, and throws axes, so like a very Renaissance man, if you will. And so that was just it. And my ability to, because I ride with the guys and everything, and I've got that trust, I just thought, if I'll bring a small rig with me, and so that it kind of disappears, and just talk to them and get them to open up. And that was the gist, that was the goal. It's not a show about Harleys. It doesn't matter if you ride a Honda or a Kawasaki or a Harley. It's not really a show about motorcycles. It's a show about people. My real goal is that people that watch, you don't have to ride a bike. You see a little bit of yourself in the stories, your life. Yeah. You can relate.
I think too, it comes through. You can't really make a show like that if you're just some run-of-the-mill production company and this is your production assignment. I mean, you could tell there's someone on the other side of the camera that's connecting, because I just know from doing this in the sports world, in the music world, if you're an idiot or you're not connecting, you're not going to get what you got on camera. And that was really the thing I picked out. Those guys, you could tell they trusted you and they're not putting on an act. And so I just thought there was a level of authenticity in the show. And also,
thank you,
maybe a chance to dispel a lot of myths about guys that ride bikes. I was like, oh, wow. When the guy, not spoiler alert, but I think it's okay. It's not a major plot twist, but he pulls out a violin and it's like, wait a minute. This guy plays a violin and you're thinking, he's going to start stringing it. It's like, wow, this guy is the real deal. And I think I just want to commend you on the ability to extract the honesty and the authenticity out of those guys. And also for us as an audience to go, wow, this guy's pretty hardcore. I mean, he's inked head to toe, and it's not like an act. This isn't one of those guys that just did it 4 years ago because he wants to look cool at the next Coachella. I mean, this guy's probably been inked since he was a teenager. So he's the real deal, but he's got this artistic side to him, and the other guy as well. So yeah, kudos to you. And I think what really struck me as a TV show is that it's like, right away, the person behind the camera is the real deal. And that to me is why this show stands apart with anything else you're going to see on TV. Because any other show we watch, it's just, 15 people behind the camera. They're not connected at all to the talent. So yeah, I'm giving you major props, but
no, thank you. It means a lot.
Yeah, but that's why I think that this show really stands out, and we just don't have enough of those shows, So
I would say that there's something that's missing at least in storytelling, that really emphasizes the importance of masculine brotherhoods. I think you just don't like you don't see that anymore. Like me and you, we were at the cigar lounge last night, and we met a lawyer. We met like this 27-year-old, like super based kid. He was like, it's in California. He was so happy to have another conservative to talk to. It was amazing. But like those sort of things and those conversations only happen in male environments, and it's good for a culture to have that. And so when I think of like bike clubs or my wife lives in my wife lives with me, but her dad lives in these like mountains of Pennsylvania, and it's just a biker bar town. It's and so just in the evenings you go to the biker bar, and there's beer and there's just lines of motorcycles outside, and that's the whole culture of these towns is just it's beards and bikes, and it's something really unique. You don't see that a lot, like not publicly, not in a Hollywood sort of frame. Sons of Anarchy maybe a little bit. They tried to bring it out, but
but
yeah,
I didn't see Sons of Anarchy. It was just
I know they Sons of Anarchy. Again, from my crossing paths with certain people, they took this much of that world, a sliver. That's all they have. Of course, right? But of course, in the time we live in, we live in a time of titillation and sensation, fueled by octane to the max. That's not everything of that life. Without going too much into detail, we do have in some of the upcoming episodes, we have stories from people from that life. But it's not the stories you've already seen on Discovery Channel where they're it's a Discovery docu-series or whatever, and they're trying to do it. This is real life, and they're trying to make it just like Sons of Anarchy and apply to that. No, because that's what's been done before. No, we're going to again use the point is to get people who are afraid of motorcycles, they're deathly scared of them, to see themselves in that guy. That real level dude. That's my goal. See, that's my goal as a storyteller with this show is I want to be able to use the trust that I get. And we've done already pre-production on that episode. And when I walked in to meet the person, and he's a high-level guy, they did a week of for like a week they vetted me. And it started to make me question, what am I doing here? Why am I don't know. But everything was, I got nothing. And I gave them the first right of refusal on the first edit. I'm like, if you're not happy, I'll edit it as many times as you want, because, we're talking about sensitive stuff, but the goal isn't to talk about the sensitive stuff. Like, the other ones. It's when I'm using code, sensitive stuff, where the goal is not to sensationalize that. The goal is to show the human heart behind it all, the trajectory from childhood and what shaped, going there.
I gotta peg into something you just said. As a filmmaker, when you have the guts to tell someone you're going to give them the first right of refusal in the editorial, which is not a normal thing. It's usually the thing you absolutely don't do. But you only do it.
My thought.
Yeah,
I had to do it. I had to do it.
No, but listen, hear me out on this. You do it when you trust yourself that you're going to tell the right story, and you're not going to make it cheesy so you only do that when you have the confidence that you're gonna do them right. And I've been in a few of those situations, and that's just like, you can only do that if you know you're going to nail it. And that's like, I don't know, I'm getting a little nerdy on like filmmaking stuff.
No,
it's like you only cut off when you can do that.
No, you're on point, Sean. You have to well, as an artist, when no one believes in you, you got to believe in yourself, from the get-go, wherever we start, whether we start in music or writing or whatever, and everyone say, yeah, you're not going to do it. You got to believe in yourself. But what I'm getting to is, yeah, that's exactly it. I know what I'm going to edit, and I know what I'm going after. So even though I hear about all these other I'm trying to find the right verbiage. Activities, it's the best one I can come up with that I've heard in this life. That's not the point while I'm here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not here to talk about those activities.
Yeah.
Those activities are just the lane or the environment to bolster up the narrative that I want to go after. And that narrative is to again, my main goal is to show people that most people would just, they've got all these preconceived notions. And when they're done, they can't wait to see themselves in the next episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And kudos to you for doing that. I want to steer it if I can for a second, because I know we only have an hour to do this. And there's one thing I really want to dig into. And it's because I think I did get a chance to pregame a little bit with Daniel, and we kind of were in LA at the same time. I think we've sort of run the same track in the music business and the TV business, and so we've seen the evolution. We experienced the kind of heyday when it was a little bit more Wild West, and watched all the transition. And I'd love to hear from you, like your perspective of where media is at today and why you can't do a show like this. You can't necessarily, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's difficult to go pitch a show like this to a Netflix or a Hulu or a Disney or an Apple, because they're going to go, well, what are the stakes? And there's got to be a story arc. And I want to hear all the, the skeletons in the closet, because that's going to be the good stuff. And it's like, we're in an era now, well, especially with LOOR TV, where you can tell these stories and we don't need to pull those gimmicks and do all that stuff. So I'd love to hear like your own experience and journey in watching that and dealing with the media machine in Hollywood and reality television and trying to pitch to Discovery and history and, all that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. You can pick whatever.
But
I think you got something to say on it.
I'll start off with this, from what you just said. You said something, you made reference to, people like, pitching a show like this to someone at Discovery or Netflix or whatever. Let's just say Discovery, because this actually happened. What you said actually happened with me. So I finished the show. I didn't have any distribution or anything. And, I wasn't sure where I wanted to go with it. So I started with, we were down in Knoxville, and Knoxville is the home of Discovery Channel. And I had no agent at the time or whatever. And, so I just thought, all right, I want to, raise some awareness with Discovery. And so I went, I'm going to have a movie premiere. Now, mind you, I knew nobody, or a premiere for the show. And the goal was to get, people at Discovery going, who the hell's this guy? Who does a premiere with a show? You got no distribution, no nothing. There's no main names attached to it or anything. But, I had some friends down there. One was a guy named Silk Cozart, really great actor from Knoxville, did a lot of great, he was in White Man Can't Jump, Wesley Snipes' bro in that movie. And, was with Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts in Conspiracy Theory. He played the FBI guy. He had, he's had a lot of, great success. And anyway, he's a Knoxville boy. So I knew Silk saw, the final cut I just finished, and he loved it. And so he wanted to come on as an EP, executive producer, to help, do something with it. So, through him, we went and we got a bunch of sponsors. I went around to like the Triumph dealerships and the Harley dealerships, and got them to give me some money so I can go rent the theater and get a bunch of catering and a bunch of free beer, because that always brings people, and because we knew nobody, and then he had access to a syndicated radio show based out of Knoxville. And they had, I think when we went on, I think there was something like 800,000 listening, and in the Knoxville area. So we went on, and 2 days before this premiere, and did like an hour interview thing, and it was really cool. And day of the premiere, like 300 people showed up, and only 5, maybe 10 were riding bikes, and the rest were just people. And so to say all that, it was a success. We had people coming up going, I don't ride, but I can't wait to see the next show, So a week after that, there was someone actually that came to the premiere, and they introduced me to, I can't even remember his name. Well, I can, but I don't want to remember it. But it was in at Netflix. I'm sorry, Discovery. And I sent him the show, and like 3 days later, he got back to me, and he said exactly what you said 5 minutes ago in that big question you gave me. Like, yo, I don't get it. I don't get it. Where's the drama? Where I don't understand literally. I mean, it was insulting. And it took all my energy just to, because you never burn a bridge, even though you want to nuke it in the moment. But it took all my strength to go, okay, yeah, all right, I get that, because I was networking in Knoxville, and I was doing some work in Nashville, and I'm developing relationships down there, and I didn't know how far that one went. I knew it went pretty far, so I had to eat a lot of humble pie in that moment and just go, all right, I'll make some changes, knowing I'm gonna lose that, never gonna do that. But I kind of knew that everything you just said, that way, and what happened to me with Discovery was going to happen. So when I got wind of Jason and Marcus and what they're doing, and I don't think the audience can still find that original, one of the most brilliant commercials I've ever seen for LOOR. It was going back 3 years ago. I don't think it's there anymore because
it's so good. I know the one you're talking about.
Oh, is it?
Which one? Because it's so good.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. That's just one line. Is that still there?
We'll have to insert that at some point, because I just saw it for the first time.
If you could call that up, because that was the commercial that made me track Marcus down and Jason down. I went, these are my brothers. When I saw that, and I went, this is brilliant. Who are these guys? And I did everything I could, and I tracked them down, and I blew up every email, introducing myself, and that's
cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool that spot resonated with you, because I just saw it recently, and I was like, guys, I called them up, like, this is genius.
It's genius.
Oh, yeah, we did that like 3 years ago. I'm like, what?
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It needs to be running now. I mean, it's just I know.
Well, it aged well. That's rare too. When you cut a promo, it's like it's got a shelf life of like 8 minutes. I hate that thing. It's 3 years old. It's genius. Yeah. So during the show, we're gonna play it right now. Can we interrupt this program for this?
Oh no, not right now.
Oh,
not right now. But
I'm
right.
The other right now. Late right now is. Okay, so because I have so many questions for you, and I realize this is not a Joe Rogan 3.5 hour podcast.
Exactly.
It's a 1 hour thing with Scott Holman. Give us your hot take. I'm putting you on the spot here. Give us your hot take
boy.
of the state of affairs of programming and media and cable and streaming and all that from your perspective in terms of let me narrow it in so I give you some direction on this, but like, well, I don't know if it was you I was talking to somebody recently how we're talking about how like you go sit down to watch TV and you sit on your couch and you hit your Roku or whatever and you go to your menu and you're like, okay, what platform am I going to go to? And then you're like, okay, Netflix. And I go on to Netflix, and all of a sudden, I look at the clock, and 20 minutes have gone by, and I just realized I spent the last 20 minutes searching for something, and there's nothing I want to see.
Yeah, that was me because we bonded over that. Okay. Yeah, it was me because
confused.
Yeah. No, but what I liked about it was you were that conversation that we had about you get home, you turn on your Netflix, you turn on your Apple TV, your HBO Max, whatever, your Prime, and it's like you're there for 25 minutes just trying to find something that is just kind of okay, and you wind up settling, and then you watch your like 5-10 minutes in because now you feel committed because you just spent 25 minutes trying to
Wow, it's like dating. It's like dating in the mid 2000s in LA.
Yeah. Wow, that's brilliant. That's spot on. It really is. But we resonated and connected over that in our last call, because I was telling you, because I'm working on a couple different projects where we're working with a lot of content and a lot of directors and stuff, and but then we deal with a lot of let's just say bookkeeper types, people that aren't in the industry at all, and I've been talking over the last year from people all over the world that aren't involved in the industry, and it's that very same thing. So it's not an opinion. I know a lot of people might hear this or hear us talk and they go, well, that's your opinion and everything. And I just say, no, this is not an opinion, it's a fact. And it's all around the world. It's not just in Texas. It's not just in New Jersey, in America, it's anywhere. It's in Japan and in Germany and London and, the States. What is that? It's the thing we just said. People are sitting down. It's taken them 20 to 25 minutes to just find something acceptable to them. And I'm not talking anything on the morality or whatever. I'm just talking whoever they are at whatever level that they think is right or wrong. All people, it's taken like 20, 25 minutes to find something. Yeah, sure. Everyone in the world, we all have our one little, Breaking Bad or our Sopranos or Severance or whatever, right? And but when that's done being binge watched, everyone is doing the same thing going, what the hell? And it's why a lot of people are am I saying too much? I'm sorry.
No, it's so good.
Third cup of coffee here today. So in the last 2 hours, so I'm firing. But that's why we connected so much in that last call, because it was exciting to hear what you said. I'll put it this way. There's a core of industry professionals that I work with, my team or whatever, and we're saying the same thing. But for the last meaning observation, what we're seeing. But for the last 4 months, we've been surrounded and getting so excited because we're talking to people outside of the industry, and our observation from a year ago, what I just said, we're seeing it. It's like, wow, this is crazy. And then, out of nowhere, we kind of just stumbled upon it because, we were just talking about, we were just talking about our times because Sean and I we were in LA at the same time, and we ran in the same circles. We had the same friends, but Sean and I never worked together, but our friends did. So it was wild. And we were just kind of, And then it just, that kind of slipped out about that 25-minute thing that, you can't find anything. And then he said it. And I just said, okay, I don't need to talk to anybody anymore. I know that's what the truth is, and it's, for me, it's a very exciting time as a storyteller, a creator, filmmaker, whatever you want to call it. Because billions of people are dissatisfied, and they just are. It's not an opinion, it's just a fact. And as we all know here, because we've all worked in the industry, what is shown, on the people that have, the big networks or whatever, you would think that that's the minority is the majority, and it's just the opposite, man.
Yeah. Well, and I think that so many people are just worn out by another season of the Real Housewives of Haiti, or whatever the new thing is.
Wait, did you just say that? That's a great. Every show there's a great pitch, and that was the
great pitch. Yeah. Real Housewives of Haiti.
Sign me up.
Where it's just manufactured drama, and you just keep having to turn it up. What stood out to me the first time I watched Behind the Beards and Bikes was the patience to let the story come to you as a filmmaker. And so you actually find the heart of these men, and you can connect with them as human beings, because you give them the space and the time to tell their story, to share their art, to share their music. And so there's a human connection that isn't trying to ramp the drama. It's not trying to dopamine you into enjoyment. It's trying to let you connect, which is such a deeper satisfaction. To the human connection is such a deeper satisfaction than the drama, of another season of manufactured drama.
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry, we'll do this for next podcast. I really want to dive deeper into Housewives of Haiti, but we'll do that later. Right? It's got just a good ring to it.
You want to play that ad?
Yeah, let's play that ad because I'm glad you brought that up, Daniel. Let's watch that ad.
Yeah.
How long ago did you make this?
When we first started LOOR. Yeah, this was the original.
This is good. Turn up the volume.
So it turns out the streamers are letting us all down. One has committed itself to destroying Grandma's terms of endearment for her grandbabies. Sorry, Grams, you can't call them cuties anymore. The other has decided that you can't have dragons unless you order them in a brown paper sleeve, so the mailman doesn't have to be wantonly subjected to the TNA of the Seven Kingdoms. You could go to the Christian streaming services where you can put on your ruby slippers and repeat to yourself over and over, but at least it's clean, but at least it's clean. Apparently, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, is also horribly executed. But does it have to be that way? Can a high standard for storytelling exist with a moral backbone and a complete set of clothes for every actor and actress? That is what LOOR is about. Quality entertainment for people not interested in seeing strangers naked. Of course, if you are just looking for your fix of and dragons, go to another streaming service, you perv. Be a part of the LOOR. Click the link below.
Yeah.
That's so good. Kudos to Marcus and Jason.
Yeah, Jason wrote it, and then we edited that. That was like our first announcement that we're doing this LOOR thing.
These guys are good, man.
Yeah. And so yeah, that was the first ad we did. It was a while back ago. That's way back, 4 years.
That's cool.
I think it's still valid right now, Marcus.
Yeah,
I really do. Yeah, it is. It's brilliant. It really is.
We'll have to run it some more. So
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, so as I know, we're putting our stowing away our tray tables and getting our seats back in the upright position here. tease to us a little bit about upcoming episodes. You know, I'd imagine you've found some people. What do you got? Anything you can pull back the curtain on?
Just a little because so one I did that individual I told you about who was involved with a see, because I'm still editing it, meaning the how we're going to lay it out. But he was involved with.
Here's the thing: if you don't, I don't want to put you on the spot. If you don't, you can.
No, I can. No, no, it's all right. I'll find a way right now. He was involved with a. You put me here, Sean, so I gotta follow through. You put the light on. I'm not going to turn it off. Anyway, one of the guys, he was in a 1%er, bike club, and a patched guy, as they say. And there's only a couple of them, and you kind of, they're infamous. You know the names. They've been around for a while. And but what was really interesting was this was a guy that, so he rose to become president of one of these famous clubs, and I should say president of because they all have chapters. You know what I mean? So, but where he started, he didn't get on a motorcycle until he was like 34 years old. And what was he before that? He was the chief of he was a fire marshal, and he was a recovery scuba diver working with detectives. So he was working on that side from youth, through college, through and 20s and early 30s, and then one day he got on a motorcycle, and talk about being obsessive personality, left that whole law enforcement side, went to become the top of the chain of a 1%. So
that sounds cool.
It's cool, but what's really cool is it's not really that what I just said. It's the human being along the way from childhood, while he was a fire marshal, the things and the conflicts that were going on in his life. You know what I mean? That is the thing that intrigues me. The stuff around it, the environment is just the window dressing to me.
Yeah.
It's the core is like when you hear these, and that's what I mean. When you hear some of these things that he went through, everyone will be able to relate to it.
Yeah, I think that's the key. That's what I thought with the first episode, is that even though like those guys are both worlds apart from how I grew up, I could still relate to them. And that to me is the secret sauce of not only your show, but any good show, where I get introduced to someone that seems so removed from my culture or my world, whether they're overseas or here in America, and where I can find a deeper human connection. And that really is the thing that's missing in so much of what we get bombarded with in media, and especially in our pop culture world, whether it's musicians. We want to pretend that we can connect with all these people, but the reality is like my life was never anything like theirs, and is for sure not anything like theirs now, as they're making millions of dollars getting up and being a cartoon character on a stage at Coachella. But these people, it's like, okay, this person's totally different from me. They had different upbringing, but I can connect with them on a deeper level. And that's the thing that we're missing. And that's what I got out of your show. I was like, wow, this is super cool. Like, I'm kind of like that guy. I'm totally different than that guy, but I am like him. And that just instills a bit of like just human connection and hope, and just some level of inspiration that is totally missing. There's a vacuum of that. So yeah, it was just stoked to see what you did.
Well, Jason, I think the band is ready. But why don't
the band is ready. So you want me to get you the
Already?
answer?
Wait,
To
we need a trivia answer.
That's right. That's what I was about to say.
Trivia answer. Okay, so the question is, who was the band, the garage punk band that first live streamed a concert? Right, they were a group of tech guys that put a band together, and the year was 1993. Silicon Valley. They were actually in the Xerox building parking lot to be able to use the internet of the Xerox building to do it. And the band was Severe Tire Damage.
Oh, I have their box set. No, never heard of them.
You've never heard of them? Garage punk band? I was in a garage punk band at the time, so that's probably why I heard of them.
Wow, you're literally the only person on planet Earth that could have answered this question. That was deep.
Yeah, I was thinking we would all know the name, and
no, but here's what's great. So one of them worked for Apple, one of them worked for Xerox. They were tech engineers, and they developed M-Bone, the streaming platform, multicast backbone, which is what then the Rolling Stones did. And then to say thank you, the Rolling Stones had them come open one show for them. The Rolling Stones never have anybody open for them. But to say thank you for making the technology that made it possible for them to do a live stream, they went and opened for one show.
Just because I want to nerd out for a second, would that have been on an ISD line? Because it's ISDN line? Yeah. Because it for sure wasn't a 26K mono. They were doing a live stream.
They had. That's why they had to do it at the Xerox building to get the enough internet bandwidth to try it for the first time.
Can I search it online and see it? I kind of want to see it. Not now.
Oh, I'm sure you can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
hey, Daniel,
eventually everybody did it, but
Daniel, you knew the answer to that question, right? You were just holding back.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Hey, before we jump, Daniel, any last words you want to say? And yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, well, first off, again, I really, I mean it, not just saying it, I really am honored to be here with you guys because, and I really am so excited to be a part of LOOR because, I met Marcus and Jason, man, time flies. I mean, it's been over 2 years.
Yeah,
man.
Just over 2 years.
Yeah. And, but going back to that first thing, back to that commercial we saw, I saw that commercial, like it was about a month after that Discovery guy going, I don't get it. Where's the drama? Like, I mean, literally, Sean, when you said that, I mean, I'm like, that was Sean. And he had a change of heart or something. But anyway, no. But it was like so a month after that, I don't know where that popped up. You guys were promoting that, whatever, and that popped up. And I went to my lovely wife and I said, who just saw me because I to do that show, I didn't get any investors, used my own money and did a lot of guerrilla filmmaking. And, my wife put up with a lot for about 5 months because I did everything. I didn't, I did the music and the edit, and I'm hanging out of trucks. There was no crane or dolly, we're driving along. I'm getting some of those shots, 45 miles an hour, hanging out of the back of a pickup with, a $5,000 camera 5 inches from the ground just to get the shot. I'm scaring the hell out of the driver who is a young cinematographer himself. He's like, we can't do this. I'm like, speed up. Come on. We got to get the shot. But anyway, after just one of the war stories, and we all know what that is. We do what we got to do when we're working on tight budgets. After, when I saw that commercial 2.5 years ago, I didn't know them from nothing. And I just went, boom. I just started looking them up, getting emails from everyone involved and just sending out, hey, I love what you guys are doing. You know, like I don't know, there must have been, and you don't have to give the exact number, guys, but you know, they had thousands. I went to there was a meetup when I started this. They had in Nashville, and all these people showed up. You know, great talent too, heavy duty talent. I was networking because you know you can never have too many camera guys and audio guys for whatever, you know, and it's just an honor, you know, and I remember going through that process. You know, I met those guys and we started talking, and I remember when I sent the trailer, and I sent, you know, what everyone's seeing now, the first pilot to Jason and Marcus, and they loved it, man. And I was like, yeah, man, because I wanted to be with these guys. You know, I've had, again, you know, I've done a lot of really cool things, and I started at a young age and walked with the kings of the earth, and I don't want to walk with them anymore. I want to walk and work with people that are my kin, so to speak. We think the same way. We're not going to sell out for you know, whatever amount of money, because some of us already did, and I am guilty of that. You know, and it doesn't taste so good. You know what I mean? So I don't, when I was younger, you know, so it's just great to be with you guys on LOOR here, and it's finally released, and, you know, I'm excited.
Well, everybody, because Marcus has to catch an airplane.
That's right.
We got to wind it down, and I don't want to cut you too short, but I want to thank you for doing this. And for everybody watching, go to loor.tv, watch Behind the Beards and Bikes, support it. We are going to start a tip function where even after something got funded, you can actually go, hey, I want to stoke this guy out and give him a little extra dough. Please do that. Give him some loot.
We want all the secrets early, huh?
Well, you know, this is what this, because all the people listening are the inside.
That's right.
They're the insiders. They're the insiders.
I think the band are ready to leave the building. We better, they're going to play this live, right?
Yeah, we're going to play it live right now, actually. What's the style of music is this, Jason?
The style of music this time is outlaw country.
Of course. Not very creative with that genre.
Through the roar of engines on a dusty road, great beards like banners in the wind did bow, with violins cradled and guitars in hand. The brotherhood rode across this wild land. Iron strings and roaring steel, axes fly with hands that heal.
No,
Through fire and beast their bond rings true. Brothers of the iron, wild and blue.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for listening.
Wait, we don't get to hear the rest of it?
No.
Okay. You'll have to get spots at least.
We gotta keep it in time. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to go to loor.tv. Be sure to
Axes and cold air, their laughter
Thanks
it
again for having us coming on, and
And you.
what else you do.
with their hands
Yeah,
and
be sure to
strings.
subscribe to LOOR and our
Iron string.